Hi, Sonoma County. It is Sunday, November 1st, and I am in Milan, Italy. I am here for the CME conference, which is going to be a conversation about sustainability and wine growing as well as winemaking and how it affects sort of overall quality in the wine. But I did want to wrap up some of my conversations that completed my fellowship last week in France. So last Monday, I had the opportunity to meet with Giulia Castellucci and Thomas Montagna, who sort of represent two different organizations. The first one is CEVI, which is the European Confederation of Independent Wine Growers, and the other one is VIF, which is the Vignerons Independence of France. And so this is sort of independent, both organizations, whether it's representing the European kind of different wine growers from around Europe or the ones specifically focused on France, look at wine growers defined as producers who both grow the grapes and make the wine. And on average, their member size is under 26 hectares, or about 26 hectares, which is just over 64 acres, just to kind of provide perspective on what an independent wine grower looks like around Europe and specifically in France. And so the overarching organization represents growers in France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Slovenia, Bulgaria, Hungary, Switzerland, Montenegro, Luxembourg. I think they represent 11 national organizations. And then the one focused on independent growers in France, obviously it's all the major sort of wine regions that we're very familiar with, Champagne, Burgundy, Bordeaux, etc. And so this meeting was specifically set up to talk about sustainability when it comes to farming and kind of the push that they've had in terms of focus on environmental agriculture and environmental farming here. And so they've actually, interesting, so they said about 35% of their members are focused on doing one program or another, whether it's organic, biodynamic, or just sort of environmental farming. And, organic and biodynamic way less so, especially in regions like Champagne where it's nearly impossible with the sort of cold and rain to do organic farming. But back in 2014, their actual Minister of Agriculture released a new sort of agriculture certification that goes beyond grapes. Here's just a little sort of brochure on it. It's one of the only things they had in English, but it's called the High Environmental Value Certification. And what this does, it actually looks at similar to kind of our sustainability, kind of the part of our sustainability initiative focused on the environment. It looks at promoting 4 key areas: biodiversity conservation, plant production strategy, management of fertilizer use, and water management of water sort of use and water conservation. And so those are kind of the tentacles, and it's a 3-phase process. So the first part of the program is that you are basically kind of following the general regulations. And the second part is that you actually have 16 different what they call obligations. So I would translate as kind of best practices under those 4 categories. And then the final one, to kind of get all the way there, you are meeting certain kind of standards under those different 16 obligations in those 4 areas. And then you actually get certified kind of by a third-party auditor, very similar to what we do in California through our wine growing sustainability or Code of Sustainability program. And so they said growers have really embraced this approach to kind of focus and be able to respond to grape growing and Mother Nature every year, and that it's actually similar to how we view organic is a very specific focused on sort of what you use for fertilization and what you use for pesticide management, but their environmental program goes beyond that, looking at water use and biodiversity, and so it takes into consideration more things, and so that's why they think this is a really important certification. What I thought was interesting is there's a lot of support from the Minister of Agriculture in France. And since it goes across a lot of different agriculture products, wine grapes just being one, they actually already have a seal, which is here, right there. They actually already have a seal that you can put on the product that shows that the grapes are made in an environmentally friendly way. So this organization's role, similar to what we do at the Wine Grape Commission, has really been about encouraging their members to adopt these environmental farming practices, to label it, talk about it. So they've been doing a lot of education around that after they kind of made the big announcement last year. So kind of on the similar track, it was a fascinating conversation, since this opportunity to have a high environmental value certification was launched in, I believe, in January 2014, around the same time as our sustainability commitment in Sonoma County, and so they're watching as growers embrace it. They haven't gotten quite as far in terms of the adoption yet, but they're encouraged and feel like, right now they're doing a lot of education around it, and, are hopeful that, over the next couple of years that they really, I think their goal is to at least get to 50% in the near term, and then focus on, working with their members to push for more, to get more acres and more growers, more members as part of the program. So it was a great conversation. What I continue just to be amazed with as I travel around Europe, and probably would be true if we went in other wine regions around the world, is that just to explain, so Julia Castellucci, she actually works for the organizations and is in charge of their European affairs. Thomas Montana is the president, so kind of chairman of the board. He's the currently the Kevin Barr of the organizations, and it wasn't long. He's also a grape grower farmer. It wasn't long before we were, talking soil, or here specifically terroir, which I love. So talking about terroir with them is like, terroir is much more than soil. It's, it's the soil, it's the history, it's the philosophy of soil management, it's all of those things. And I think we lump some of those things together when we talk about it, but certainly a great way to look at it. But it wasn't long before we were talking about the soil and farming in general, and within a half-hour conversation, Thomas had out his phone, and he was showing me pictures of him harvesting with his Planck harvester. And again, farmers are farmers is the more I learn as I travel around Europe. So soil, tractor, farming, Mother Nature, weather, what the tonnage was. 2015 has been a pretty good vintage over here in France. Really nice mild weather, even in places like Champagne. And so it does make me appreciate that no matter where I've gone on my fellowship or where I've gone throughout Europe, that there are these people that remind me of home and remind me of how much I love my job, how much I love agriculture, and love working with the wine community. So that is it for now. I look forward to kind of continuing my dialogue with Julia and Thomas as we move forward, and comparing sort of best practices and how we can continue this sort of march to sustainable farming and agriculture. That's it for now. Cheers, everyone.